Okay, this is type tool part 2. Went over just a regular type tool. It's a horizontal type tool. Everything that I did for the horizontal will apply to the vertical type tool. And now I'm going to go through the horizontal type mask tool. And of course, everything I do there will apply also. As you can see, I'm on layer 2. I got this eroded concrete texture. And we're going to kind of do the same thing as ocean, but a different way. So let's go over here to the horizontal type mask tool. And I'm going to click once. Notice, first of all, it turns red. It is a mask. It is. And you know how it is when I've done the masking videos. This is what it looks like. I'm going to definitely change my fonts. And as you can see, I can change my fonts. I'm going to go to American Captain. And let's go up to 150. I'll hit the tab button, much bigger. And let's type in the word. We're going to go with king. Let's do this one more time. Sorry. That should be the word. Actually, I'm going to do the word rock. Looks great. And what I'm going to do is hit enter. With that being said, now I'm going to come over here. You're going to see that I actually have the selection tool. I just went to the move tool and it's the selection tool. There is no type. Over here in the layers, there's no type. It's just layer 2. I have just put down a mask, okay? So that's why it was red, and whenever I type, whatever inside it's going to be. Now, say I want to actually take and move that selection. I can't move it with the move tool, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is come up to the word select, and go to down here where it says transform selection. There's no quick key, so just come here to this. As you can see, it has a bounding box. Yes, I can move it. And yes, I can make it bigger. And I can do everything I could normally do with an object that has a bounding box. I can rotate it. I can do whatever I want. But for right now, we're just going to keep it at this. I hit enter. And then notice I still have my selection. That's where I come down to the bottom of the layer. And there's my mask. As you know, it's a square with a circle in it, or the camera. Add layer mask, and boom. I have it looking really good right there. So that's how that works. And so we're going to add a couple more things to this now. And we're going to talk about what we call the FX. Notice it's right near the mask tool. FX means effects. I click on it and I like to bring up the blending options. It will have every one of these options on it, but I get to actually see what I'm working with. So when that clicks, I see it pop up, kind of move it down a little bit so I can actually see what's happening here. The blending options, you have everything right here that's just for the blending options. I like to go through the embevel and emboss. Notice it's already been preset. I love how this works. But as we look at this, it looks the same over here in my blending options. I need to click on the actual line, which says bevel and emboss, and I have all kinds of things working here. My bevels, my techniques, hard chisel, I got my styles. You know, I can do an emboss if I want to. I can make it smooth so it looks a little different. There's all kinds of things. I will let you play with that. We're going to do it with the inner bevel. And what will happen is we have our depth and our size and our softness. It's just a matter of sliding and things are changing. You can see it happen here on the rock, but also you can see it happen here on the right-hand side. Change the angles of my, where the light goes, all kinds of good things. My contour, there's a lot of them. Each one looks a little different. And these are some things I would suggest you play with, okay? We're going to go with our traditional one. Let's go right here. Boom, looks good. And of course, we can soften it. We have a different size to it. It's all kinds of cool things, okay? When we come down here, here's our highlight modes. We have our opacity of our highlight modes. It's going to make it even more if we needed to. We can even change the actual color of the highlight modes by double clicking here. Let me again say, let's go red. Notice how it changed to red. But no, we don't want to do that. And we can also even change the actual shadow itself too. Okay, so there's a lot that we can do. If I don't want it that color, we're going to come here. Sorry, keep double clicking. We can make it a green. Let's come up here. Notice it's turned green down here. And if say okay or not, but no, we don't want to. So there's a whole bunch there. We can also add other things to it. Let's take a stroke. Boom. Notice we've already done a blue one. We have our sizes. These are things I want you to actually look at and play with. The positioning of it, the hardness, everything's pretty self-explanatory. Let's take that off. We'll take this one off too. Let's do the inner shadow. Click on that. Notice if it doesn't show up, we'll make our opacity a little bit bigger. If it doesn't show up, Our distance and our size. Yeah, it's showing up already, so we're good to go. And there it is. Okay. If it doesn't, and I said that 3 times, I'm so sorry. Go instead of multiply, go up to normal, and that should help it out too. Sometimes multiply just doesn't work, and you're fine with that. So let's get rid of the inner shadow. Let's come out with the inner glow. We'll click on that. We have a little bit of white there. We're going to first change that color so you can see it. Let's go to a nice bright green. Say OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the opacity. Let's look at the size. Coming around, and as you can see it, there it is. Look at the rock. You can see it also here, there too. We can change the contours, which is kind of cool. Changes things up. I kind of like this one a lot. That kind of has kind of a cool feel to it. And you can do all kinds of cool things. Okay? Again, play around with it and get to know it. It's just pretty fun. Now we have satin. Satin gives you that feel of that you have, it looks like satin sheets or something like that. Yes, I can change the actual angle of it, the opacity of it, if it's good or bad. That's something you could do. Some people love this, some people don't. Yes, I can change also my contours and, like say you have a satin sheet or some kind of satin clothing. It gives you that feel like that, okay? Finish that up. Let's do a color overlay, real simple. Same thing. I use the blue. I like to use a blue a little bit, and we're going to put our bevel on there. So now that looks like the rock is blue. I mess with the opacity. I can go a full color if I need to, but know that I like to have that texture come through. So you have the opacity. It's just a matter of clicking on the color, changing the color, and you're in good shape. We can also do a gradient overlay, same as the color overlay. I could pick my gradient. Let's go to our blues. Boom. And you'll see that it goes darker here to lighter here to darker here. And it is absolutely wonderful. Yes, I can change it. See how it angles. I can do linear. I can do a radial where it goes from light to dark. All kinds of things. We talked about gradients. It's pretty much the same way there. Then we can do a pattern overlay. We know what a pattern is. We've seen it before. There's the actual color of it. When we actually did the shapes, the prior video, you can see the pattern on there. And again, change pattern. Let's go to grass. Let's make it look like grass. Looks pretty cool. We have an outer glow. Let's take that off. We have our outer glow. I'm going to go ahead and notice you can see it. I made the opacity really big. I went that ugly green again. I was doing this today in class. Our spread, how big it goes, the size of it. We can do all kinds of things. It looks like it's actually toxic with that color. It looks cool. And again, we have our techniques. We have our colors. We can do kind of a neat things, etc. like this. Really kind of neat with our contours. And last but not least, we have our drop shadow. I'm going to pop that in there. I've already got set up so it's the same way. It's in the same angle as I have. But of course, if it doesn't show up under multiply, go ahead with your normal. And I'm going to tone this down a little bit. Let's make the distance a little bit more so it's really jumping off. We'll make the spread a little bit bigger. It just gets a little thicker in the size of it. And notice how it's kind of jumping off like that. Yes, we also have the contours again. Do all these crazy things if you want, but it looks wonderful. And again, I can put multiples on, so I can do a stroke on top of that with the satin on top of that. There's all kinds of things, but when you don't want it, you just let go or you just uncheck it. If I like what I have, I'm going to say okay. And notice in my layer, I can see that it says effects. I can put it on, take it off. I can do each individual one too. Don't like the stroke, don't like the satin. I'm going to keep that and we're good to go. Hope that helps. Again, under FX, we're right here. It looks great. Come up here, hit the blend options, okay? You guys have a wonderful day. I hope this helps you out. And this actually is something that you enjoy.